So tonight I have the great honor to introduce an individual that that I have a lot of admiration for, and I haven't known him that long. So the presentation topic tonight is going to be happiness, work in progress. And before I introduce him, what is tradition at the GNA?
Send them all the way back.
The speaker has to go all the way to the back of the room.
Yeah, come on now, Edwin.
You gotta go to the back of the room so we can give you a real warm welcome.
Bill Moose kicking you out of here.
Get back. I'm going to the end. Get back.
So Edwin, he's here to inspire and encourage others to their full potential and have a positive impact on the world through service and love is a purpose statement of Edwin. A dynamo of humor and enthusiasm, Edwin stands at the forefront of the entrepreneurial spirit. He has over 30 years experience of providing, oh man, he's done everything, this guy.
Is the font big enough on that sheet?
Tell you what, I think Elias wrote too much, but
it's all
I want to.
That's what he sent me, Bill.
You guys
He sent me
in
that.
for a treat, okay? Don't only listen to what he's saying, but learn the format of his presentation. I've seen him speak before, and he's a master. And he also has an MBA at the Civil Aeronautics Engineering. And he's going to get, he's the Chief Happiness Officer and founder of the I Am Happy Project, with chapters in 64 cities and 19 countries. Edwin has talked to more than 1,000 people about happiness in the past year. And based on the answers, he has come up with 10, I'm pretty sure, a list of 10 concrete things people can do to become happier. One of his goals is to give away freely 1 million of these cards with a hope. 1 million of these cards.
Oh, you got one?
1 million of these cards with the hope that it will make the world a happier place. Why not busy networking or spreading happiness? He enjoys his hobby when he's not networking or spreading happiness, he enjoys his hobby as a pilot. So without anything else to do, it's a great honor to introduce the Chief Happiness Officer. Have you ever heard of the Chief Happiness Officer?
No. The one and only.
I know in the whole world, Edwin Edebiri. Let's give it a roll.
Yeah! Woo! The one and only Chief Happiness Officer's in the house. Woo!
Go, brother.
Wow, for a second there, I was just going to keep going, just go through the front door, because I was wondering, okay,
were you going to leave, Edwin? You were not going to leave, were you?
Well, the way it was introduced, I was like, okay, who is the guy talking about, Go outside to check for the person, But thank you very much, that's so kind. Well, first of all, good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
This is an exciting time of the year, the holiday season. It's a spirited time where everybody really just get to relax a little bit. I think I've shared this story so many times that there's a lot of folks in here that haven't heard it before. It's how do I end up becoming the Chief Happiness Officer? How did the whole I Am Happy project get started? And you have to go back to 2008. Actually, end of 2008 coming into 2009. And to say that the times were tough back then would be an understatement. Folks, people were losing their homes, people were losing their jobs. 401k was becoming 101k. And folks who already planned that they were going to be retiring 2 or 3 years from now find out immediately, and I know my financial genius here will agree, quickly realize they may have to add 5 years, maybe 15 years, to their plan. And so it was tough. I was hosting a radio show at that time, and I'll come across people who ordinarily were just happy, positive people, and you see their shoulder was a little bit down, their head was a little bit down, and I'll go to some of them and say, hey, what's going on? and they just don't have anything concrete to really tell you except just generally things are just tough. And sometimes I will say, hey, you still have your house? And they say, yeah. What about your job? They say, yeah. And I say, then what's going on? And they'll tell you, so many people were just laid off in their job last week. And the way the ass was dropping, they didn't know when it would get to their turn. So even though they still had their job, they were living in fear because they didn't know when this was going to start. So at that time, I made a decision that I really didn't want to be part of it. Because I realized the media was having so much fun. They were really having a field day. They were telling us how this thing was going to get really bad before it get really, really bad. I mean, they were, I don't watch TV that much, but every time I seem to turn it, I'm seeing, kitchen soup from the Great Depression, how the lineup was. I'm like, wait a second. So I decided, wait, I don't want to be part of this stuff. And I do a lot of meditation. And so one day out of my meditation, I got very excited. I was like a little kid in the candy store, And all this, before that session, I've been thinking about the whole world, the global meltdown and going from Wall Street to Europe and all of this stuff. But outside of this, once I got out of this meditation, I realized while I may not be able to do something about the whole big meltdown, I can do something about one person. And I felt empowered. I got really excited. And so that day I went to Barnes & Noble's in Chico. And as I'm getting into there, if you're familiar with Chico and that Barnes & Noble, on the right hand side have Starbucks. So I moved to Starbucks side and I put my book and computer down, and then I could hear a couple was just having a very intense altercation. I mean, you would think they were in their living room. And so I look around very quickly. I noticed everybody were pretending to be minding their business. And so I decided to mind my own business. But the moment I uttered that thought, I went into a zombie state. And I walked straight to the couple, and I look at them in the face, and I say, excuse me, and they start screaming at each other. And I say, can I ask you a quick question? And the guy looked at me some more, and he beckoned me to go ahead. And I said, on a scale of 1 to 10, how happy are you? Now, you guys are laughing.
He probably wanted
Starbucks was not laughing. Okay?
He probably wanted to knock you out.
In Starbucks, you could have had a pin drop. Okay? And so they look at me like it took forever. Eventually, they gave me a number. So I said, wow, that number wasn't bad. So I went to the table, I put my computer and note, got a sheet of paper, 30 to 2, gave him 1 and had 1. And I said, with a score like this, there got to be something you guys are happy about or thankful for. If you can just give me 1, maybe 2, or even 3. So I know they wanted to get me out of there real quick. So they wrote down something really fast, and he wrote down something really fast. They both gave it to me. And I looked, and I screamed. Because both of them had written exactly the same 3 things in the same order.
Wow.
Okay, folks, I've been married for 22 years at that time. If somebody put a gun in my head, there is no way myself and my wife can write down the same thing. It's just not possible, not to talk of 2 the same thing or 3 the same thing, So I told these folks, I showed it to them, and I said, come on, I don't know what's going on. I don't know you guys from Adam or Eve, but whatever is going on, try focusing on these 3 things and see what would happen. And so they look at me and they smile, and then everybody in Starbucks started clapping, and so I said, hey, I know that things are tough, and maybe it's getting at you guys, but just do your best to focus on these 3 items. So they both say thank you, and the guy was rushing to shake my hand. I said, no, the risk I took is way more than handshake, okay? Yeah. And so now they're confused. And the guy said, what? I said, well, at least I got to get a hug. So the guy gave me a hug, and she gave me a hug, and I just told them, hey, you guys just be strong for yourself, And they said, thank you. So I went straight to the table, I grabbed my computer and my notebook, and I went right out to the outside to my car. So I sat in my car, and I realized wow, this is what my meditation play out. To be able to shift people's mind from all the negativity that's going on into something more positive. Now I got really excited. Everywhere I go from there on, anybody that will care to listen, I'm going to ask them on a scale of 1 to 10, how happy are you? So it usually takes 2 or 3 minutes. In short, I still remember very vividly, I'm taking a flight from Sacramento airport to Chicago. And this can only happen on Southwest, okay? Most of the airlines are too strict. They assign you a seat, you know? Southwest doesn't assign no seat. So if it's a little bit full, you see all the middle aisle will be empty because people want to stay to the window and to the aisle, right? So I was excited. So I just went to the very beginning and I sat in the middle and I asked the person to the right on a scale of 1 to 10, how happy are you? They gave me a number. We're talking about happiness. I asked the one on the left and then I sit for like 2 or 3 minutes later and I get up and I go to the next one. And I keep walking myself for the first aisle and I walk it back in the next aisle.
Wow.
And by the time plane landed in Chicago, I think I must have talked to everybody in the plane.
Wow.
And the flight attendant started screaming and saying, hey, that's the happy guy, you know. and of course the plane was a little bit happier that day. Okay? And so I kept doing that, and one day I'm in Jack London Square in Oakland. This was a beautiful Sunday, really. I'm blowing whistle. Now, I don't think you will want me to do karaoke.
Oh, why not?
If you do, I will be the last person.
I'll turn up the reverb for you.
We'll
put up the reverb. You know what reverb is?
Yeah. So just in case, when I'm done, everybody is going home, okay? And go make some adjustment to their ears or something. So, but I'm whistling, you know, I can whistle, okay? You know, my music teacher back in the day said, if you can't sing, just hum, you know? And I used to just hum. And so this guy is coming towards me, and I said, hey, can I ask you a quick question? And he said, no. I said, okay. I said, come on, what is going on? This is going to be really quick. And he said, not really. I said, all right, what's going on? So it's okay, make it quick. So I said, on a scale of 1 to 10, how happy are you? Same thing. And he by far scored the lowest. So I'm telling myself, this is not scientific, this is just self-assessment. Why would somebody score themselves that low? So I said, hey, can I share a quick story with you? And he said, no. Then I said, yeah, we go again, you know? And I think he realized I wasn't going to let him go. So he said, okay, just make it quick. So I just started talking the first story that comes to my mind. And then towards the end of the story, I realized he was coming down, you know. And so I said, can I share one more? He didn't say yes or no, so I assumed it for a yes. So I shared one more, then 2 more, then 3 more. Nice story. So 30 minutes later, I was like, okay, now I think my job here is done, you know. And so I reached to shake his hand, so he grabbed my hand, he wouldn't let go. Now this guy is bigger than me, okay? So he goes, what's your name? I said, well, as a general rule, I don't give my name. And I actually made that decision very early on, because I didn't want people thinking, oh, this guy is being friendly, you know, he's going to come try to sell me something later on. So I wanted to eliminate that, you know, thought. And so I said, well, I don't usually give my name, and I didn't ask for your name. And he said, well, not this time, you know. He said, I didn't want to talk to you at first. You had me here for almost 30 minutes. The least you can do is give me your name. And so I processed that very quickly, and I thought that was fair. And plus, I wanted my hand back, you know. So I gave him my name. He asked for the spelling of my name. I spelled it for him. He released my hand, and I went my way. So he went back. And the next day I got a call from this young man, and he said, do you remember me? I said, of course, from Jack London Square. But what I don't remember is giving you my name. And he laughed. And he said, yeah, I Googled you. So then he hit me, that's why he asked for the spelling, because there's no way he could have found me without the spelling of my last name. So he said he just called to say thank you. I said, wait a second, that's not driving, because I'm the one that held you hostage. I'm the one that's supposed to be thankful. So what's going on here? And that's when he told me, when I stopped him, he was on his way to commit suicide.
Wow.
Okay? So I was shocked. I've never had that experience before. So the first thing that came to my mind was, you need to be seeing a counselor. And he said, yes, he has been seeing a counselor for 2 years before that time. and that he has no help. His pain is just so much, he wants to just get it over with. So I said, then what happened? He said, well, all the stories I was sharing, and some of it he didn't understand because of my accent. And I said, well, you asked me to hurry, so that's why I did, you know. And he said, but he got enough to realize he had plenty of reason to be thankful, to be happy. But he was just in so much pain that he just suppressed all of them. So he went back home, he flipped the suicide note, and he started writing all the things he was thankful for, happy about. It went from 0 when we met to about 29 different items.
Wow.
He said he had shared that with his family, and they know now his situation, and he has enough reason to be thankful, but more than that, to be alive.
Yeah.
So he just said thank you, and he hung up. So I'm dumbfounded now, and I'm processing all of this. I'm thinking, wow, this I was just having some fun with. I didn't know it would have this kind of impact. But I'm telling you folks, that conversation literally changed my life. Because from there on, it wasn't the same way I look at the same question anymore. I share with some of my friends, and they recognize, you know, what people, you know, the smile on people's face when I ask them that simple question. So we decided to put together a Facebook page. But what do we call it? Facebook. So I was looking for something that was affirming of what actually happened. And that's how I came up with the I Am Happy project. Because I am happy is an affirmation. It doesn't mean everything is going well. It just means that's what you want. And the way I know, and I've studied the brain intensely for some time now, is that we are the master of our brain. If we don't give clear instruction, the brain goes to work and pick anything he wants, okay? So when I wake up in the morning and I say I am happy, I'm telling my brain, go to work on that, okay? And it usually does. And so that's something I encourage each and every one of you, be very clear about the message you give, especially when it comes to your self-talk. Okay, I wear the I am happy pin, and I'll be the first to tell you, you don't need I am happy pin to show that you are happy. But the mission statement for the I Am Happy project is spreading happiness globally, one person at a time. And according to Harvard University and the University of San Diego, they did a joint study. They say when one person is happy, that one person can affect 3 degrees. And so by me stating I am happy, I'm hoping that I will affect 3 degrees of people. So I encourage you folks, we got some pin, you know, get some pin, wear some pin, and help us spread happiness. Now, how many of you will agree with me that whatever we focus on will grow?
Yes. We get more of it.
Yes. Whatever. Now, you would think with that common premise that more of us will focus on what we really want. Unfortunately, we focus on what we don't want. Because those are the things that are more stubborn. Those are the things that get in our front all the time. You know, like the bills. You know, so many people spend so much time on their bills that the bills continue to grow. Even from places they don't even know bills exist. So, but if you focus on happiness, folks, I'm telling you, happiness will grow in your life. It's just that simple. Now, I'm going to give you a few happiness boosters, and then we're going to also talk about a few unhappiness boosters. And then we're going to do some happiness exercise. How many of you are ready for that?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to do that. So before we get to that though, I want to share a couple of happiness boosters. You want to boost your happiness, folks? Try compassion. That is the #1 item on my list. And a lot of people who study happiness is compassion. Now, I know when I use the word compassion, people are right away thinking about compassion for others. Now, that's good. But that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about compassion for yourself. Folks, I've seen some people beat on themselves. And you wonder, wait a second, should I call 911? You know? and sometimes, folks, we have to be light on us. And you see sometimes people who are compassionate with others, and they're not as compassionate to themselves. And eventually, what they usually get, and I had the experience of speaking to the California Association of Caregivers in their annual event, and that was when I really learned the word compassion fatigue. And it's not just when you are taking care of somebody else that you can get compassion fatigue. You can get it also just beating on yourself. Okay, so I encourage you, don't do that. Now, another way, and this is a lot simpler one in terms of just boosting your happiness, and a lot of people, especially entrepreneurs, take this for granted. And that is getting enough sleep.
Yeah. What's that?
Okay? You know, I've seen people, they say, oh, I'm operating on 4 hours sleep, and they say it like a bragging right. Folks, you have to understand how the brain works. Okay, how many of you have your own home? You have your own home. How many of you at least once a week put your trash outside?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. What if the trash collector didn't come to collect it?
Oh boy, it'd pile up. It would smell.
Okay, so how many weeks can you go, or would the street go, if the garbage collector never came to pick that garbage?
Not long.
All of a sudden, what happened to your neighborhood? It will change. Okay? That's the same thing, folks, with the brain. The brain needs your sleep time to do the cleaning up. That's when the brain cells can expand a little bit and it lets the cleaning happen. So the more you shut down that sleep time, guess what? You're shutting down the cleaning time. And eventually it's going to catch up with you. So you want to boost your happiness, sleep a little bit more. 2 ways to boost your own happiness. And sometimes people do this without even knowing about it. But the number one list you want to boost on happiness, folks, is comparison. When you start this way, because we're going to do the exercise.
Either way, I'll come over here.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, so that way we get everything.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
There we go. Okay, so everybody is standing up? All right, so we have to give you time to come up. So this is, first of all, folks, how many of you will agree with me that laughter is the best medicine? Yeah, absolutely. And yet, we don't laugh enough. Okay, little kids, they laugh 400 to 500 times a day. And folks, you understand why they're always happy? And some people might think, oh, they don't have bills to pay, that's why they're always happy.
That's probably true.
No, free ride. You know, they get free ride and all this kind of good stuff. But the truth is, no, their brain is programmed to be happy. Okay, so an adult, we only laugh like about 13 times a day. That is research back. And some don't even laugh that much. And they just tell you, well, I'm not the laughing type. You know, okay, congratulations. You know. So yeah, what we're going to do is a little bit of happiness exercise. So we put your hand together like this. Okay? And you can kind of put your leg, it doesn't matter, somehow, just go like this. And in different culture, this is namaste, right? Yes. It's just we connect in a way because all of our souls are connected one way or the other. Yes. So the way it goes is very simple. So we're going to go like ho, ho, okay? Ho, ho, okay? Go ahead, you can say that. Ho, ho, okay? And then we're going to go ha, ha, ha. Okay. All right? Okay. Ho, ho, ha, ha, ha. Okay, that's cute. You understand? He's doing this. She got it. The queen? Okay, yeah, she got it. Do it for us again. Do it for us. Okay, so now here is the thing though. Kids do this naturally. Without nobody, you know, you just see kids go, and the parents go, why are you laughing? I don't know. And they laugh some more because their brain is already wired, you know, that way. Okay, and so we got to try to reprogram ourselves in terms of getting back. Now, that doesn't mean, folks, we can't be serious with our job. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying don't be serious with yourself because it's not worth it. So we're going to do one more exercise, and this is a penguin. How many of you are familiar with the penguin?
Oh, yeah.
How many have been to the penguin land recently, right?
Hey, Edwin?
Yes.
My high school sweetheart was infatuated with penguins.
With penguin, alright?
Yeah.
So that's why
It
we
was-
are
it was
doing
bad,
this.
yeah.
Okay.
That was a long time ago, though.
Okay,
It's
so
like 20 years ago.
hey, you know,
20 plus years
it's
ago.
penguin time. Okay, so put your leg. Hey, look at everybody. Watch my friend. There we go. That's what I'm talking about.
Oh, are you the waddle?
Okay, so put your leg like in a V shape, like the penguin, right? V shape. And then put your hands to the side like she is. And now, folks, we're gonna just make some penguin noise, okay? Like. And now we come to the middle. And then we come Alright, thank you. Everybody see that. Thank you so much. So, exactly. Folks, I'm telling you, touch on your inner child. That is the key word there.
Touch on your inner child.
Inner child. Now, somebody came to me after one of these sessions and he said, Edwin, are you happy all the time? I said, heck no. I'm human, just like everybody else. But here is what I have learned, folks, and this is what I hope that you practice. I have learned over the years to set my default position to happiness. Folks, to set my default position to happiness. And what do I mean by that? Folks, I'm sure all of you are familiar with the VCR. You know, it's the video cassette recorder. Remember those machines? Yeah, they were there a long time ago. When they come from the factory, what time is it set to? 12:00. So what is the first thing we set when we bring them out of the box and plug them to electrical outlet? We set our correct time, right? So it becomes a focal point in the house where we watch the time. Now, let's say you're just coming out from the outside, and all of a sudden, that thing is blinking 12:00 again. What happened?
Power failure.
Power failure. PG&E or some circuit or something happened. Maybe somebody break into the room and didn't know where the VCR was. But the bottom line is, you go quickly to do what? To reset it. That is the default setting from the factory. Folks, here is what I'm here to tell you. I don't know what you believe, but whatever it is, I believe that all of us had the happiness as our default setting. Okay, that was our default setting. That was why when we were born, remember folks, I don't know about you guys, but when I was born, I screamed. Right? Doesn't baby scream?
Yeah.
And the whole world was happy. Can you imagine the face of the parents when that kid screamed? The doctors, everybody there were all sharing that kid. That was how we were ushered into this world with happiness. So set your default to happiness, folks, and you will find out that you can deal with a lot of stuff better. Research also supports this. I've got calls from doctors, and they say when somebody is happy before they go into heart attack, they are on the average 7 months recover quicker than someone who was unhappy. Okay, 7 months. Folks, if even in your job, if your job is going bad and you can somehow find a way to be happy anyway, you'll find out that you can come up with more solutions than you can if you were unhappy. At least for one, more people want to be around you trying to brainstorm and help you out. If you're unhappy, guess what? Everybody want to take off. Nobody want to be around you. So you owe it to yourself. So when people ask me, Edwin, are you happy all the time? The answer is no. But I have managed to cut down the time that I'm unhappy closer and closer this month, because I hit my reset button and my default is happiness. It allowed me to clear my head and be able to deal with situations better and quicker. Folks, like Bill talked about the I Am Happy project, we're very excited. We do a lot of wonderful job all over the world. We have some of our groups in Africa, like where I'm from, Nigeria. We have 4 chapters in Nigeria that do different work. We have a chapter in India that do different work, mostly orphanage related, foster care, senior care. Anywhere a little happiness is needed, these people are there. We have the Chicago group. They go to the non-convent where none are retired, nobody comes to visit them, especially this time of the year. Those group has been doing that now for the last 4 years. They go in and adopt the different women and they spend the Christmas session with them and just keep their company. So the I'm Happy Project do some wonderful job. But this year, folks, we started something. And I'm also hoping that this will help GNA. Okay, I call it the Happy Neighborhood Project. The Happy Neighborhood Project is really very simple, folks. It is connecting happy businesses with happy people. Now, but we also want to spread happiness in the community because that is the mission statement. So what we've done is have 3 different categories. The first category is the happiness ambassadors. Now, let me ask you with a show of hand, how many of you volunteer at least 5 hours a month?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
At least 5 hours.
That's a minimum.
Okay. If your hand is up, then you already qualify as a happiness ambassador. Now, if your hand was not up and you think you can volunteer 5 hours a month, then you can be a candidate. Now, if I share with you what we're doing, folks, it will blow your mind. Now, I think there was one interviewer. He said, "You came up with all this? You're a genius." I said, no, it's not about me. Folks, these have evolved over time. In short, the last 5 years, I used to have people come to me and they with this serious face and they try to be really serious, but I can kind of tell they're laughing inside. And they tap my shoulder and say, "This happiness stuff, do you make money doing it?" and I would say no. And not only am I not making money doing it, but the last 5 years it actually cost me money. Okay? It was not about money, it was a way for me to give back. Okay? But now, this year starting out, it actually started to make money. How cool is that? See, that's the way the universe line up. When you go to work, the more you give, guess what? The more you receive. As a matter of fact, you receive in tenfold. And so what happened with the Happy Neighborhood Project is we have the Happiness Ambassador. And all the Happiness Ambassador do is commit to volunteer 5 hours a month. And folks, you get to choose who you volunteer for. And you get to choose when. We don't control any of that. So that means if you already volunteer, you already qualify. And I had a lady sign up today. At first, she didn't really understand because the brain was playing games with her. It's like, how would I get paid for volunteering? That's not what I'm doing it. I'm just doing it because I want to do it. I say, I know, that's why I've been volunteering for years. It's because I want to do it. But guess what? What if we pay you and you can turn around and donate the money to the charity you volunteer for?
Yeah.
And he goes, I can do that. And then she got it, okay? And she volunteered at her church and she also volunteered at her kids' school. And he said the kids school, they're always looking for money. It's like a private school. I said, okay, that's what you will do with your own money. But you get to do whatever you want to do with the money. This is the way it works, folks. We have an app called the Happy Button. And if you have not downloaded the app, I strongly encourage you to please do so. It's really designed to help to spread happiness around the world. I put together about 20 coaches from around the world, and so you're going to hear different accents, and stuff, but they record 1 minute or less inspirational message. And every day the message is different. Okay, so that's number one. Number two is we have the happiness scale. Now remember I said when I first started this, I went out asking on a scale of 1 to 10 how happy you are. Well, we've managed to now program that to something very meaningful. In other words, if you wake up in the morning, you can set your mood. If you're really happy, set it to a 9. And if someone pisses you off somewhere around the road, adjust it to a 3, a 4, or a 5, or whatever you want. Okay? But the system will ask you to make a note. Why did you adjust it? See, folks, I know this is funny and it is, but it's also serious. See, a lot of us are happy 95% of the time. And some maybe even 99% of the time. But it's that 1% that something happened and we are not prepared, it could totally freak us out. I've seen it. I've seen a lot of people, they were really happy until their loved one passed away, or their favorite animal passed away, or they lose their job, or they divorce, and then they just go into a poor house and some never recover. First, it's a situational depression, and then it becomes a clinical chronic depression. Folks, that's what I want you to be prepared. You can help yourself. If you already know all the different comments you make along the road, you can go back and look at the graph and say, wait a second, this is what I do when I'm happy. So let's go do this. And instantly you can recover that quickly. And then we are seeing counselors using it now with their clients. And they're having them set it on a daily basis so they can rate their mood. And then they can export it to the counselor, and the counselor can work with them on that. So it's a very useful app. Now, we have businesses that are now promoting themselves in the app. We include them in the list of happy business. We develop a banner for them, and then we give them a full page. So those businesses pay us. They pay us about $250 every 6 months for their own zip code that the business is located. And they can get more zip code if they want. So here is what I did. And this is a networking group, so I need Kyle to help me out.
Come on up.
Kyle, come on. Kyle. Yeah, come on, Kyle. Yeah.
Kyle.
You know, I want to kind of drive this home, and then I'm going to wind down here because I need your help. Okay,
Don't knock my camera over, Kyle.
John,
That's all.
I know, that's what I'm trying to do.
stand up, please, okay? Yeah, please, if you will stand up. And I want you guys to kind of help me out here. Let me stand up. This is very simple stuff, okay? But I want to tell you the power of what we are doing here. Let's say, for example, I put an ad on radio, and you heard the radio say, happy button, please download it, right? You heard about it, right? And then Kyle call you, and you know Kyle for a really long time. And Kyle say, hey, I talked about this, ask her about it, if she would download the happy button, right?
And I'll have happy button.
Yeah.
Sure. Tell me a little bit more about it.
Okay. Now, before we go into that, who would you believe more, the radio ad or Kyle?
Kyle, I've known him a long time.
Isn't that true with most people?
Yeah.
That's true.
Let's give them a round of applause.
Yeah.
That's what we're doing. We could spend millions of dollars on radio and TV ad trying to promote the app. Instead, we choose the happiness ambassadors to help us. And we are putting one happiness ambassador in each zip code throughout the United States of America. There are 30,000 zip codes. So there will be at least 30,000 happiness ambassadors. So now how do we pay you? Now remember, now let me make this very clear. As a happiness ambassador, you don't solicit business for us. You don't talk to businesses about the happy neighborhood. That's not your responsibility. Your responsibility is to find an organization you like and you want to support, and you volunteer 5 hours to them. We don't control that either. So that's why if you're already volunteering, you already qualify. But once we assign you a zip code, okay, any type of business sign up in the zip code that is assigned to you, you get 5% of what the business pays. Folks, let me give you an example. Right now, we are down to about, I had my offices, we do mobile apps, so we are programmers. I'm a programmer also. So we program it, we have a website that I was so fortunate. And some people, they still crack up when I tell them I own the domain name because they can't believe it, okay? But it's checkmyzipcode.com. Okay? So we own that zip code, that domain name, and so we program it to sort the whole zip code in the United States in order of the number of businesses in each zip code. So we tap into Labor Department, we tap into Census Bureau, we tap into IRS data. All these are public information, okay? And so not only do you have the number of businesses in the zip code, you also have the payroll for the annual payroll. So what that means is this: as people become happiness ambassadors, to be very fair and also to really recognize those who came into this early, we want to make sure they have the zip code with the largest number of businesses. So we are assigning it, and so every hour now, the number of businesses is going down as people become happiness ambassadors. Now, why is that significant? This is the deal. Our goal is to have 20% of each number of businesses in a zip code, part of the Happy Neighborhood Project. So that means if a zip code have 3,000 businesses and we get 20%, that's 600 businesses. If you're the happiness ambassador for that zip code, if you take 5% of 250, that's $12.50 multiplied by 2 because they pay us every 6 months, that's $25. Take $25 and multiply by 600, that's $15,000. Folks, let me ask this question. This is a very tough question. How many of you will volunteer 5 hours a month if you get paid $15,000 a year?
Oh yeah, I'd do it for free.
Wait a minute, you're not
So that is what we are doing.
Yeah.
Now, I use that example because that is about where the number of zip codes are right now. But guess what? They're going to keep going down as we are signing. Because like I said, I want the people who got involved early on, get the largest zip code, and the people that come a month, 2 months, 6 months from now, they get the lowest zip code. Because there are some zip codes, especially in the, what they call it, the remote areas, that may have only 100 or 200 businesses in it. But those people will still be lucky that they still got zip code because sooner we're going to be out of zip code. And because I don't have any say-so to the number of zip code, once it's over, it is over. So I just want to encourage you, if this makes sense, and this is another thing, since GNA is starting out a non-profit, this will be another way that you can also support GNA. Because what would happen is GNA can be part of this as a non-profit, and there is no cost for GNA to be involved. And some of the ambassadors that join here can be assigned to GNA, and this is the way this works. If you are an ambassador and a business sign up in your zip code, you get your 5% and we donate 2%, excuse me, we donate 5% to GNA. Okay, is that cool or what?
Yeah.
Okay, and so that could become a really recurring, money to GNA to be able to do. Is GNA doing a wonderful job?
Yes.
Because, folks, I've seen a lot of people that I would never have met if it wasn't for GNA. I think that's the power of networking and connection, and especially the way they've been doing it all this time. And I think what Elias was kind of thinking about, in '94 I wrote a book on networking. And in that book I described 2 types of networkers,
Oh, I love this. This is my favorite.
And one set of networker is what I call the networking barracudas. And what they do is think about themselves, it's what is in it for me non-stop. And if they can, if you say there's networking going on, they quickly calculate, okay, there's going to be nothing for me, I'm not going, And they forget that's not the way it is. And then there's the other group I call the catalysts. These are the people that really make things happen in the world. They are catalysts in connecting people. They know that if they connect enough people, that connection will come back to them. Okay? And so that's what you want to be. Because if we can connect enough people, ladies and gentlemen, the connection will come back to us. So I want to encourage you, there is a one-time $99 to be a happiness ambassador if you want to be. And it's a one-time, no monthly, no annual, nothing. And it also helps us cover some of the expenses. In terms of, we want to give you a happiness ambassador kit. It includes what Wade is wearing there. Can you stand up, Wade, please? So they say that is the happiness ambassador badge. I think Bill is wearing his own too. Bill is wearing the happiness ambassador badge. And we have some more people that are happiness ambassador. Kyle is a happiness ambassador. It's actually a consultant also. And the difference between an ambassador and a consultant is that the ambassador you cannot sell. All you do is volunteer your 5 hours and you commit to spreading happiness. We give you some 10 ways to be happy card to spread around. Now if you want to be a consultant, then you want to help us to get the businesses and also help us to expand. So any business that comes through you as a consultant, you get 20% of what the business pay, and then when they renew, you get 10%. So that's the difference between that, and there's a $50 difference. What I'm doing right now through the end of the year is if you come in as a consultant, you pay the extra 50, but you want 49, but you're also an ambassador because you get to pick we assign you a zip code. Right now, a lot of these zip codes are big. We are assigning them. So if you want to be, let's talk before you leave. And those of you that have a smartphone, you can go and check it. Type in checkmyzipcode.com and you will see the map throughout the United States of where we have our different ambassador and consultant right now. Folks, I'm so excited. We have an opportunity to be part of something great. This is what I want to close with. How many of you know the small tiny company called Google?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, small tiny company.
How many of you know the school that the first set of employees and investors of Google came from? The school. One school. Say that?
What, Stanford?
Stanford. Let's give him a round of applause.
Yeah.
Is that you, Phil?
Good guess, Phil. Good guess. Really guess.
So why Stanford, folks? Because Stanford is where the two co-founders came from. That was their network. That was who they know. They were not going to leave Stanford to go to UC Berkeley to look for somebody or go to Harvard across the country to look for somebody. The first guy that wrote a check for $100,000 for Google was Andy. And he was a PhD graduate from Stanford. And at that time, they didn't have name. He just wrote a blank check. He said, okay, when you guys come up with name, put your name in it and don't deposit the check. Okay? And so on and so on. Why am I saying that? You guys are opportune to be involved with the Happy Neighborhood right now by virtue of the fact that you are local to the Sacramento area. There's going to be people in other states that will wonder, where were they before you got to this point? Well, because you guys are part of my connection. You're part of GNA. That's how it works. By the time other people start hearing it, we might be at a zip code that only have 200-300 businesses. And if we get 20% of that, we might get 20 or 30 businesses. Right now, we have opportunity to make this thing happen. And then finally, folks, imagine we have 30,000 happiness ambassadors around the US doing 5 hours of volunteer services. That will be about 150,000 volunteer hours a month by one organization. Folks, that would just be ridiculous. I want to thank you very much for your time and stay happy.
Why do we ask people to volunteer?
Yeah.
Okay, good question. See, there's a research also. See, this is one of the things now, the last 5 years. When I first started this happiness stuff, I got a call from Channel 10. And I still remember vividly, the lady, although she felt like she was joking, she said, this going out on the street talking to people, do you use it to get ladies? And I said, I never really thought about it, but now that you do, I think I will add that to my arsenal,
I need help with that one.
Everybody think something different about it because happiness is very nebulous, And also we are in a society where we think everybody is responsible for their own happiness. And yes, I agree to some extent to that because happiness is from the inside. But the truth though is this, we are all in this together. Okay, I don't know about you guys. Just a few Fridays ago, some kid went to the school and shot some people in Seattle, right? In the school. That kid tweeted 3 days before that he was in pain. The tweet was very clear. It was a little kid that was crying. Somehow, everybody missed that tweet. The day before, he tweeted again. He was still in pain. He said, this time I don't think I can handle it. That tweet was also ignored until he went to school and he shot people and he shot himself. And what am I saying here? I don't say we all got to be sitting and babysitting each other, but I'm just saying let's pay a little attention to ourselves. Let's be outside of us. That's what volunteering does. Is that you saying, I'm thankful for what I have and where I am, I can take some time and be of service to other people. And here is another thing research I've already backed. I try everything you hear out of my mouth, I have researched it, and it's supported by evidence, a body of research. If you volunteer, you are healthier and you are happier on the average than somebody who does it. Science research backs that up. So you're not just volunteering because you're going to help organization, you're actually volunteering to do what? To help yourself. And this is why we are paying you to do that. Now some people say, oh, why are you paying? Well, I'm not the first person to pay people to volunteer. Actually, I've done a little research. Back in the 60s, JFK says, do not ask for what the country can do for you, but instead say what you can do for your country. That simple campaign slogan became the foundation of the Peace Corps. Today, folks, people go to different countries to do what? To volunteer. But they get paid. Kind of. Okay? They get stipend for their food. Yeah, it's not the same thing they will get paid. They got a job in the US. But if you look at the economy of the countries they go to, it's enough for them to do what they went there to do. But also when they come back, in short, this year, Peace Corps coming back, they get on the average $8,000 each to help them acclimate back into the society. Folks, that's not different than what we're doing, except that we'll just find a way to help the businesses to help themselves. So I encourage you to become part of this, and you'll be grateful.